Hi, I'm Tyro Man. I'm at Rhode Island Comic Con, and I'm talking with Claudia Wells. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, good. How's your convention been going?
Great.
Great, great. 2 days.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. I love the kids especially. They get so excited.
How was it filming Back to the Future back then with Michael J. Fox? How was it?
Wonderful. He's positive. He's terrific. It was great.
What were some of the things that might have happened on set back then? Any shenanigans or?
No, it was just all good time.
That's all
yeah.
good time. What have you been up to since Back to the Future?
I have a men's clothing store called Armani Wells. People can find it at armaniwells.com. It's high-end clothing for men at discount prices. So instead of paying a couple thousand for a suit, you pay a couple hundred.
Oh, that's a
And I
good
do
deal.
everything from jeans to tuxedos, head to toe. And on December 19th, my store will be 22 years old.
Oh, wow.
I'm also, thank you, very involved with something called Kids in the Spotlight. And we bring a 10-week program to foster kids where we teach them how to write and how to write scripts and how to act. And then we film a short story that they've written, a short film. And we have a screening once a year that's like an Oscar Awards type ceremony.
Oh, cool.
And you can find out information about that on kidsinthespotlight.org or KITSINC.org. And we are 100% donation driven, and it's $10,000 to do every 10-week program. Okay. And 100% of donations goes straight to the foster kids.
What script kind of stood out from all those?
I this year played a girl's meth addict mom, and with twin babies, and the daughter actually turned her mom in, and she ended up in a program to recover. And the 15-year-old who played the daughter wrote the script, and it was based on her family.
Oh, wow.
So it was devastating. And she's one of the girls in the foster program. We do it at, it's like a school environment where the kids also live. And it's just amazing. This year we could only afford to do one program. We prefer to do 3 or 4.
Right.
But really, honestly, if you guys can help, it's 100% tax write-off, and nobody gets paid. It's all for the kids.
Wow,
So
that's
that's
great.
my heart.
Yeah, it sounds like a worthy cause going
It
on
is.
there.
It's amazing. It changes their lives.
Yeah. Now, do you do a lot of conventions? Like,
Yeah, I like
many
them.
do you-
I don't count how many I do, but I enjoy them, and it's fun, and it's a blessing, and I get to see my friends because, you know, the different actors and stuff. I just saw Johnny Silverman, and he was my best friend for years and years and years, and we lost
okay.
touch. So Ernie Hudson, we're all buddies.
So it's kind of like a reunion.
It's a
almost.
reunion. It's like a college reunion.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's my favorite part about it.
Yeah, that's great. Any advice you'd give to somebody who wants to try to get into acting?
Unless there's, if there's anything else you can think of doing that would make you happy, do that. If there's not, then go for it. But it's truly a rough career.
road, yeah.
It's a lot of rejection. You have to have a very thick skin. Yeah. But if that's what your heart tells you you're meant to do, then that's what you should do.
All right, cool. Well, thank you very much for your time.
My
I do
pleasure.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Claudia Wells. I was Jennifer Parker in Back to the Future, and you're watching Tyro TV.
Hi, I'm Tyro Man at Rhode Island Comic Con, and I'm talking to Alan Bellman. How you doing, sir?
Great, great.
You're one of the original artists on Marvel books. Like you helped get it started, right?
Well, I was all of 18 when I got the job at Timely. Before Marvel, it was called Timely Comics. And I started doing backgrounds for 6 years on Captain America. It seems that Kirby and Simon left for DC, and they left an opening for me.
Oh, wow. So how many years were you doing the comics for?
Well, I've been doing comics most of my 89 years, and I'm glad they brought me back, and now I'm just a happy camper. These wonderful people of Rhode Island are just beautiful. The reception I received here has made this old guy feel great.
Well, it's definitely great to see some of the original comic legends still going out to the conventions and
Well,
letting us.
I'm the only one left who worked on Captain America in the 40s, from the 40s. 50s, we still have Romita, and it's just a bunch of giants out there that still are with us, thank God.
Now, what was like the bullpen? Like they had the Marvel bullpen back then, right?
Yes, they did. We had Sid Shores, who penciled Captain America. We had Vince Alasia, who inked Captain America. We had Carl Burgos, who created Human Torch. We had George Klein, Mike Sikowski, just a whole Frank Giacoya. So many other well-known that have left us too soon.
So it must have been a lot of fun working in the bullpen back then. Were you guys bouncing ideas off each other and helping each other?
Well, we were in the illustrators room, and the animators were in the animated room. They were a bunch of Al Jaffe from Mad fame. He was only playing jokes on everybody, and these guys were crazy. But we were more serious. We sat down and we didn't talk. We didn't speak much, you know. Carl Burgos, quiet. Joe Giella, who does Mary Worth now, or whatever they call it now, formerly called Apple Mary a million years ago. And it's just great that I still try to keep contact with these guys.
Yeah. Do you still contact with Stan Lee? Do you still?
Yeah, once in a while we run across each other at, you'll have to excuse me, got a little sticking in my eye, but I just had some work done on it. And we write occasionally, you know, but what can I say? He was a good guy to work for.
So back in the day when you were doing all the drawing, do you have a character that you liked over others that you enjoyed drawing?
Well, I created a comic strip called Let's Play Detective, which they reprint now in the magazines and the hardcover Marvel books. So that gives me a little bit of joy that they thought enough of reprinting those small features. And but I worked Captain America as the most exciting character. And I've worked on several characters, like the Patriot, which I'd like to bring back, but he died when the war ended, the Second War. And we had so many wars, I have to mention the Second War.
Yeah. And you have a website, alanbellman.com.
www.alanbellman.com, and if you want to email me, it's alanbellman@aol.com, please.
What advice would you give to somebody trying to get into comics nowadays? Is it really hard?
I'm glad you asked me that. For heaven's sakes, do not copy the comic book characters. Learn to draw. This was given to me by a mentor, Tom Tomash, who's already left us. He was a beautiful artist. He knew his anatomy. Learn to draw. Even trace. Get a tracing book. Copy people in the park. Learn to draw the anatomy. Get a book if you can by Bridgman. Well known. It's an old book. I don't know if it's still in print. But learn how to draw. Then become a cartoonist.
Well, how's the convention been going for you? 2 days here in Rhode
The
Island?
convention, I'm telling you, it's been beautiful. Beautiful, because the people here in Rhode Island have really accepted me, and I'm a sentimental guy who wears his heart on his shirt, but these are my fans. It's not the money, it's the fact that they are people, and I treat them like I want to be treated. I love the guys, really. And what else can I say? I say thank you to all the good people of Rhode Island.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you. It was awesome to meet like one of the great legends.
May I say one thing?
Absolutely.
I would like to just say and leave you with these words. Things are kind of a little rough in this country today, but let's try to be nice to each other. We cannot be everyone's friend, but let's try. And I wish you all well, and thank you all, the dear people of Rhode Island, for the kindness you have shown me and my wife. Cheers.
Cheers. Well, thank you. Thank you for your time. I do appreciate it. I'm Tyro Man at Rhode Island Comic Con. I'm talking with Gerard. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Tyro Man?
I'm doing well. You're the original Buck Rogers.
Not the original. No, Buster Crabbe was the original. And then I think there were several during the 50s or something. But I'm probably the only one left alive. Yeah.
Your show was in the 80s. The
79, 80,
79,
81. Yeah. How about you? When was your show? Yours is going on now.
Yeah, ours is going on now.
See,
yeah,
you're very current.
yeah, current.
Okay.
One of your fans was up here earlier, and you've said that you've been in tons of other films.
Oh
and
yeah,
movies,
we were just talking here. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what other films and things?
Did you write it down?
I didn't have my pen.
You should have just stuck your microphone over.
I know.
Yeah. So what I did, Buck Rogers, Nightingale, Earth Force, Code 3, Sidekicks. And then I produced a Broadway play called The Amen Corner
Oh, okay, cool.
in New York. I did tons of movies and movies for television, all kinds of stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, basically made a living for the last 40 years doing this.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah, it is nice. It's been very, very good to me, as Sammy Sosa used to say about baseball.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, what was your most recent project that you just finished?
The most recent thing I did was a thing with Betty White called Lost Valentine. We shot that in Atlanta. I played her son, which is kind of odd because I've known Betty for like 40 years. So, but it was fun.
Now, is that a made-for-TV movie?
Yeah, it was made for Hallmark,
Hallmark?
the Hallmark Channel. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, cool.
yeah,
Is that already airing? Is
yeah.
coming
It was
out?
aired. It aired, I think, last year.
Last year?
Yeah. This year's been a little slow. I'm doing more writing and stuff, so
About how many conventions do you typically
probably
go
about one a month.
to? One a month?
Yeah,
So you're all over the country? And,
all over the world actually.
oh, wow, nice.
Yeah, I've been to England, Germany, Malaysia, North Africa,
What's-
everywhere.
Wow. What's the most craziest thing a fan has asked you to do, to sign?
Well, generally a woman's breasts. I've had a few of those. And I just thought, you know, hopefully you will bathe, and when you do, it'll wash off. So I was like, you know, wasn't a tattoo. I don't know, if she may have gone out and had it tattooed. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I've had boyfriends ask me to sign their girlfriend's breasts and stuff like that. That's about the oddest thing.
Yeah.
You got to make sure that that's what they really are asking you, and they're not drunk or something, so you don't get in trouble later. Yeah.
Now, how did you get your start in acting? What was your...
I was an industrial chemist. I was bored. I was living in Arkansas. I sold everything I owned, and I went to New York and started driving a cab and going to acting school. And got a break driving a cab. Guy said, I'd like to help you out, so he did. And I started working. I started in 1969. I started working as an actor in 1970. And I've made a living solely as an actor from that point until today.
Do you remember what your first role was?
Say
Do you
again?
remember what the first role was
Uh,
back then?
First role was in a movie called Some of My Best Friends Are, which was a terrible movie. But it got me started.
Right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then I did over 400 commercials in New York, and did some national tours of various Broadway shows and stuff and movies. I did a Man on a Swing with Cliff Robertson and Joel Grey. And then went on. After 10 years, I came out to Hollywood. Actually, I was brought out to Hollywood to screen test or something, and then I was out there for a couple of weeks or so, and then I went back to New York, and I was flown back out to do something else, and went back to New York, and finally I was like, I'm getting jet lag here, so I moved to LA for a while, yeah.
Now you have a bunch of websites? Are you on?
I have a website, www.gilgerard.com. Really difficult,
Yeah.
yeah. But that's it, that's all I have.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank you for taking time to
It's
talk
a
to us.
pleasure. Go ahead and
Turn
thank
feet.
If you'd like to.
Thank you, sir.
There you
Very
go.
well,
You did
yeah.
that really well.
Yeah.
I like to see a man do what he likes to do. You know. What I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thanks again.
Now get out of here.
Hi, I'm Tyro Man. I'm at Rhode Island Con, and I'm talking with Jack O'Halloran. How you doing, sir?
I'm very well, thanks. How are you?
Good. How's the convention been going for you?
Actually, very good. It's excellent. You know, this is like home. You know, coming out of Boston, and Boston's like home to me. And I lived in Portsmouth, Rhode Island for a few years, so it was great to come back.
Oh, cool.
You know?
So you were in Superman 1 and 2 as Non, right?
Correct. Yep.
Now, you guys did a lot of your own stunts.
Back then we did,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, we did. I mean, we actually broke some technology rules in some of the things we did in the flying shots and all. And it worked out very well. I mean, the movie has stood up the test of time, we'll say.
Yeah. Certainly different doing a movie back then than today's standards, I'm sure.
Oh, I mean, what we did was much better than the CGI stuff they do today, I believe. And well, it's proven because the films, you know, every time they do a new Superman, they play this one to death to get everybody into the mode of it, and they think they're going to go and see something as good as this, and they all walk out and say, wow, that's nothing, you know, which is sad.
It's not even close to the story
Yeah.
of the comics. Yeah.
Well, we had a great scripts and we had great directors, you know, so.
Do you guys have like a little reunion at all sometimes? Like I know Ursul's here at the convention with you here.
Well,
Like,
we stay in touch all the time.
Oh, do you? Yeah.
It's, you know, and Christopher's gone. He was, but we see Valerie Perrine once in a while. I see Terrence when I'm in England. You know, Sara and I stay in very close touch.
That's great.
And Margot. I stay pretty
Margot,
close in touch
yeah.
with Margot as well.
Yeah, that's
Mark McClure and I are good friends in California.
What other films have you been in? Anything recent or coming up?
I did, well, Dragnet, you know, was a good film in the late 80s. And I've been writing books. I got a few books out, and I've got, I'm getting ready to go back on screen again. I got 3 pictures that I want to do. So, you know, I took off, went to Europe for a while, did a lot of writing, produced a few pictures. And now you know, there's some things that I want to do. And that's all I do is what I want to do.
That's great.
I don't just do anything. I get offered films all the time and I turn them down. If I don't like the script, if I don't like what's going on, I just don't do it. They offered me, you know, cameos in the last 2 and I said no. I didn't like the script. I didn't like the way they were doing it, so I don't put my name on something that I don't like.
Now, what books have you been, like, what's the last book?
I have a book called Family Legacy out, which is a great book.
What is
It's
that?
on Amazon. Hey, you got to read it.
You gotta read it?
Yeah, yeah.
Is it fiction, non-fiction?
It's, let's say, it's what I call, it's like a little bit of fiction and a whole lot of truth. Fractional. Fractional. Statute of limitations. You got it's a it's a story that tells a lot of truth about things in this country, about things that happen and, you know, people from New York. About Albert Anastasia and Meyer Lansky, Costello, and I go right up and tell the truth about the Kennedy assassination.
So this is available on Amazon.
Yeah.
You can find it on stuff.
Yeah, Family Legacy. Getting ready to put the sequel out. Just writing it now.
Oh, great.
So it's a trilogy, one of a trilogy.
Oh, okay. So is this the third one coming out? So
Third, no, second one, first one's out, second one will be coming out. We're getting ready to, once we put the film together, then I'll put the second one out.
Oh, okay, great. Oh, so it'll be a film tied
We're
to
going to
it,
make a
too?
film, then we're probably going to wind up doing a series because there's so much information that we're going to tell.
Okay, cool. Nice. So what, do you have any websites or anything like that that people can find?
Yeah,
around?
Family Legacy. If you go to www.familylegacythenovel.com, a lot of great stuff on there.
So you've worn a lot of different hats, actor, writer. You were the boxing champion back in the 60s.
A lot of things in my life.
You've done a lot of different things, yeah. Anything that stands out is you just like trying different things? Or
Yeah,
is
I
there
mean,
something that-
things, whatever comes my way, I just have a kind of a good knack of doing things, you know. I played pro ball, I boxed, I went in the movie business, and, you know, and that's all Mitchum's fault. But because I did, the first film I did was Farewell My Lovely with Robert Mitchum, which is a classic today. So I've been very fortunate in my life. I've had the ability to do things that I wanted to do. You know, a lot of people don't get that opportunity.
Okay. So I want to thank you for your time. It's been a great chatting
Thank you.
with you. Awesome
Yeah.
interview. Thanks
Take
a lot.
care. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tyro Man, and I'm here at Rhode Island Comic Con, and I'm talking with Larry Kenney. How are you doing, sir?
Fine, fine. How you doing?
Okay.
Been a great day, huh?
How's the convention been? End of first day.
Yeah, fantastic, fantastic. Huge crowd, nice people, good food, and I've had fun. I'm tired, but I've had fun.
So your most famous voice, would you say, is Lion-O, or?
I think probably more people know me from Lion-O from the original Thundercats series. That's this guy. And I did another series called Silverhawks. This character, Bluegrass. Did a series called Tiger Sharks, the character Dolph. And this might be recognizable to people who eat chocolate cereal. That's Count Chocula, and I've been his voice on commercials for 35 years. And I've also been the voice of this little guy, Sonny, the Cocoa Puffs bird, for about 35 years.
So you have an affinity for chocolate cereal.
I don't eat it. I'm a waffles and eggs guy. But
So-
I do like those two cereals. They've been very good to me.
Do you have a favorite character that you've done the voice of over the years?
Probably Lion-O because, well, actually, it's my own voice. It's not a, quote, cartoony type character. But Count Chocula has been a lot of fun to do because it is a cartoony voice. You know, I get to stretch a little bit, you know, and be a little wacky, you know. But Lion-O, I guess, is my favorite because it's more people know me. And they recognize, I mean, there are people who recognize me in stores or on the street when they hear me talking and they say, you sound like Lion-O. People who don't even know that I'm a voice actor. So I guess I can't get it. I couldn't escape that if I wanted to, and I don't want to.
Now, how did you get started in voice acting?
Well, I started in radio when I was 15 years old, 50 years ago, in Peoria, Illinois. And so that led on then to getting into television and then commercials, cartoon series. So that's how I got my start as a disc jockey in 1963, when we still actually played the records.
Any current stuff coming up, or?
Well, I'm still doing Count Chocula and Cocoa Puffs. I've been the voice of on Skittles candy commercials for about 15 years. I'm the guy at the end of every commercial that says, "Feel the rainbow, taste the rainbow."
Oh, okay.
I do a show on VH1 called Best Week Ever, where I'm the announcer, narrator. It's the same voice I use on Skittles, actually. It's the third week of October, 2013, the best week ever. And I'm the narrator on a show on the Discovery Channel called Tickle, about a moonshiner down in West Virginia. So I keep busy. Still talking for food after all these years.
Now, you have to work with a lot of other voice actors, and how does that work out?
Well, unfortunately, these days, given the nature of the business, you pretty much work alone in the studio. In the old days, back 20, 25 years or so ago, and beyond that, you'd work in groups. For example, when we recorded the Thundercats series, it was all 6 of us in the room always. We were all in there at the same time always. Now, more often than not, one actor will go into the studio by himself and record his lines and then send the other actor in. So it's not as much fun as it used to be, because you don't really get to work that often with other actors.
Yeah, I would think people want to play off each other and stuff.
Yeah, but for some reason it's kind of gotten away from that. It's still fun, but I miss being with other actors in the studio. You know?
Do you think that affects the new cartoons? Like, just
I
makes
don't
it
think so.
harder?
No, I don't think so. I mean, if you're an actor, and you can act in any situation, but it's just not as much fun. You know, I remember doing an episode of Family Guy, and I was so excited because I thought I'm going to get to meet Seth MacFarlane and that brilliant crew of people, and it turned out that I was in the studio by myself in New York, and they were listening in out in L.A., so I didn't get to meet anybody.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Yeah. But it still beats working for a living, you know. There's no heavy lifting.
What advice would you give to somebody who wants to try to get into voice acting?
Stay out of it. We don't need the competition. No, I would suggest somebody who wants to be in the voiceover business, for example, that you take classes. Go online and find someplace in your area that offers voice acting classes. They're usually 10 or 12 weeks long, couple nights a week for 2 or 3 hours. And you come away with that with if it's a good place. The better places will offer you, one of the things they offer is that when you finish the classes, you will leave with a disc. Used to be a tape, now it's a disc called a demo that they will have helped you with, that you can then take to ad agencies and production houses to show what you can do. Or try to find an agent. You really need an agent in this business too, in the bigger cities. So that's what I recommend. Take classes. And because you can't just walk in off the street and say, hey, I'm a voice actor. Put me on a commercial or on a cartoon series. It doesn't work. It doesn't happen. And practice.
What would you say is the toughest part of voice acting?
Getting out of bed in the morning. No, it's the toughest part. I mean, it would be so, I think, ludicrous of me to say any part of it is difficult, because anybody would love to do it. And let's face it, it's not manual labor. I really can't say. I've been doing it so long that it comes second nature to me. So, I guess you could say the hardest part is landing the work, getting an agent, and then getting the jobs. It's a very difficult business to break into. It's not the kind of business where there are millions of people doing it. So it's very competitive. But it's certainly worthwhile trying. If you feel that you want to do it, go for it. That's what I say. All right.
All right, thank you. Anything else?
Well, thank you. No, just I want to thank all the fans of Thundercats and all the shows that I've been on. And without the fans, I wouldn't be talking to you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thundercats. Ho! You're watching Tyro. How's that? Okay, that'll be $10,000.
Hi, Tyro Man. I'm at Rhode Island Comic Con. I'm talking with Phil LaMarr. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Good. How's the convention been so far?
So far, so great. Yeah, having a good time.
Cool. Now, what would you say is your most famous voice role? You've done a lot of characters.
You know what? It depends on what people have watched. A lot of people really enjoyed Samurai Jack, but then, Justice League was pretty mainstream. I think Futurama is probably the most widely known.
Yeah. And you were Hermes on.
Yes, I was the voice of Hermes, the Jamaican bureaucrat on Futurama.
Now, was that a lot of fun working on Futurama?
Oh yeah. It was it's a great, talented group of writers, producers, actors, everybody, and the animators. Top to bottom, just top-notch people.
And didn't they just wrap up the whole series recently?
Yeah. We just finished our last run and just finished airing the last few episodes a couple months ago. Yeah.
That must be a little bittersweet, I imagine.
No, just bitter.
Just bitter?
No. It's like, well, is being fired from your job bittersweet? No, that's just bad. I like my job. I want it to keep going.
Okay, you've done some other characters. With Family Guy, you did the Star Wars episode, is that?
In Family, no, I do the voice of Ollie Williams, the weatherman.
Oh, okay.
It's gonna rain. So yeah, he appears probably every 4 or 5 episodes, something like that.
Do you have a favorite character that you've done so far?
No. I've been fortunate enough to do so many great shows that I have like 9 favorites. Okay.
What voice is the most difficult to do? Is there one that's more harder than others, or just a little more trickier, like an accent that's strange your voice a little, or something like that?
Vamp from Metal Gear is sort of a difficult voice to come up with, but he doesn't really have to yell, so it's not that hard. But yeah, that one's pretty unique.
How did you get started in voice acting?
I just sort of happened into it. On Mad TV, we were doing sketches, but we were also doing these claymation pieces. So, for me, voice acting is just another category of jobs. I don't separate it from sitcom acting or movie acting. It's, all those those things are all very different from each other in some ways, but they're also all the same. Voice acting, you know, working on a sitcom, it's just another different kind of job. You know?
So you don't have a favorite character that you've done, or so none of those really struck home at you, would you say, or no?
No,
Or
I'd
you
say.
like all 9?
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
9.
yeah, lots of them. Yeah.
What advice would you give to somebody who wants to get into voice acting?
Learn how to act first, and then, because if you can portray a character, if you can take words off a page and read them but not sound like you're reading, if you can bring it to life, that's what the job is. Funny voices are secondary.
What are you currently working on?
Right now I'm working on a show for Netflix that DreamWorks is producing called Turbo, based on the animated snail movie that was just out. Yeah.
So what character do you play in that? Is that just one of the snails, or?
Yeah, we're a group of racing snails. I play Smooth Move, that was played by Snoop Dogg in the movie.
So when you guys get together and do voicing and acting, is there a lot of shenanigans? Like, do you guys all goof around or anything, or anything happening backstage?
No, there's a lot of playing around. I mean, on a good animation thing where you're got a group of actors all together, you spend the first 20 minutes messing around, and then you get done an hour early because you're in the groove. You know.
What would you say was the most difficult part of acting or voice acting? The most challenging.
The most difficult part. What is the most difficult part? I don't know. With the video games, it's the fact that you're there alone and you have to do 4 hours, and a lot of times, most video games have a lot of action and fighting and violence, and it can be really rough on the voice. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Can you just give us a shout out to Tyro TV, to the camera?
You're watching Tyro TV.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for your time. I appreciate it. Hey, I'm Tyro Man. I'm at Rhode Island Comic Con talking to Marky Ramone of the Ramones. How you doing,
Hi,
sir?
how you doing there? How are you?
Good. How's the convention been? 2 days of Rhode Island face.
Convention's fun. It's great. I love it. I love sci-fi, horror. This is what me and Johnny Ramone used to do, go around when we weren't playing. And I still do it, and I still play. So, and I always mention this on my radio show on Sirius XM. And last 2 days has been like a far-out trip.
Wow. So you've been keeping busy since the breakup. You guys are you're doing pasta, you're doing art.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about all the projects you're working on?
I made my own pasta in about 6 months, about year and a half ago. Took 6 months to make, and it's out in the stores. And 10% goes to Autism Speaks. I have a beer coming out. Distributed throughout the whole country. It's going to be a dark ale. And besides that, I just finished a world tour. So now I'm going to finish my book.
Wow, cool. And you do a lot of artwork stuff? Like this is one of your pieces here?
I built this with my help from my nephew. And we got the phones when we put it together. So I make my own artwork and my own robots because I have about 300 original sci-fi robots from the 50s. So I figured I'd make my own. And my artwork over there, if you can see it.
So so you have a bunch of websites? What's like the main sites people should check out?
Go to MarkyRamone.com, Marky Ramone Facebook official, and Twitter. Marky Ramone on Twitter.
Cool. So are you going to be doing many more conventions and coming up? Or?
I wish they were every day. I love them.
Yeah. What are you working on currently? Your book? Is that what you're working on right now? Or?
The book's finished. I'm going to edit it, and it should be out, definitely 2014.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time. It was great to meet you.
Thanks a lot. Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Cool.
Hi, I'm Tyro Man. I'm here talking with Sal Lizard.
Hi there. How you doing, Tyler?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. You know, actually, I'm having a blast at this thing. This is my first time at the convention, and which is okay, I guess, because it's only 2 years old. But I was actually in Pawtucket 10 years ago. I shot my very first feature-length film when I decided to become an actor. Was shot in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. So
awesome.
when I drove back into town 10 years later, I had to go down to the area where we shot the film just for nostalgic reasons. But yeah, so I'm having fun. How about you?
I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
So how did you come up with the character of Vampire Santa?
Well, you know, if you look at me, a lot of people see Santa when they look at me. And so I was asked to be a Santa about 20 years ago, and I've been one ever since, a real bearded Santa. Well, I was in the IT world, and I lost my job, and I decided to become an actor. So once I was in about a dozen films, mostly independent horror films, they started inviting me to these conventions to sign autographs. And people would say to me, they'd go, "What is Santa doing at a horror convention?" So rather than continuously explaining the same thing, I just decided I had the lenses, I had the teeth, I put on my Santa suit, I vamped him up, and I became an instant hit with especially the goth kids.
Oh, cool.
So, you know, and I've been doing it ever since.
I can associate with the IT job loss. It just happened to me at the beginning of the month. So
Yeah, I remember when
That
IT
happens
used
all
to
the
mean ka-ching, and then,
Yeah,
later it meant, "You want fries with that?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Terrible.
And you also do stand-up as a zombie?
Well, I do stand up as a zombie because when you look like Santa, you know, people don't want to hear Santa doing blue humor. And even though I wouldn't dress up as Santa, and I said I'm not the real Santa, just a little joke like, you know, I wouldn't know what to give nice girls. Naughty girls just want more batteries, you know, but that would offend some people. But I found out when I dressed up as a zombie, I could be on the stage and look at a girl and say, "Can I tell you something as a professional zombie?" And she'd say, "Sure." And I'd say, "You got to be you're a great looking gal. I bet you'd be some pretty good eating." And everybody just laughed. So suddenly I became Abner Zombie, the stand-up comedy zombie and part-time gravedigger.
Do you do any other characters besides those two?
Well, yes, I've been a pirate, I've been a biker, I've been a mountain man, a hillbilly. I mostly just do a lot of character acting. And let's see, probably my favorite thing though is the Vampire Santa, believe it or not. You know, yeah, because in this outfit, I can be as naughty as I want to be. As a matter of fact, you know what I tell the gals? I have a warning label, you know, because they say to me, they go, "You're very bad," and I go, "Look, it says so right here. I know that."
So they're pre-warned. They can't complain.
That's it. Well, they do anyway. You know how it is. Some people complain no matter what. But you know what? This, Ron Jeremy one time called me an effing genius. See, I cleaned that up for you folks. But he called me an effing genius. And I said, "Oh, yeah, why is that?" And he goes, "I'm a freaking porn star, and all I get to do is put my arm around girls, you know, and maybe kiss them on the cheek or something." He goes, "But I see you biting girls on the neck, and their husbands are photographing it, and they're telling you how great it is, and the women are like, 'Oh, I love that.'" And he goes, "I hope you're doing something with that." And I said, "Yeah, there is a script being developed around my Vampire Santa character even now. And so I'm hoping that we start shooting the Vampire Santa within the next 2 years. And I'm hoping that I get to go to England this next year because I like doing horror stuff. What can I say? So even though I love my Santa character and he's been very profitable for me and I love keeping Christmas alive for children, I love doing very un-Santa-like things. So there's a good chance that I may go over to England and do blood on Santa's claws next year.
Oh,
And I'm looking forward to that.
that'd be cool.
That would be.
That'd be fun.
Yep.
Now, you were just saying that you just finished filming?
Well, I actually finished the film, and it hasn't gotten distribution yet. It's called Next Door, and it stars me, a gal who's a school teacher up in I want to say the greater Boston area because I'm not sure the exact town, but she's like a third grade school teacher with a nice rack, you know. And what happens is she plays the lead role, Christina Rendando, but I was lucky enough because I also was able to get Nicole Crew, who is a Gothic scream queen up from Wisconsin, and she's in there, and I had Lynn Lowry in that also. And you know, Lynn Lowry, she's a legend in the horror industry. So, and not bad on the eyes either. I'll tell you, I love women, especially, those great-looking women. And by great, I don't necessarily mean that they've got a pretty face, but they usually have a nice rack.
Yeah, okay. All right, cool. So how did you get started in acting?
Well, it's really funny because I up in New Hampshire, I occasionally teach a introduction to acting class to younger children, and I ask them, I go, how many of you have ever acted before? And a few of them will raise their hand and say, I was at school playing all that. And I go, no, the correct answer is you've been acting all your life. When I was a kid, my mother told me, quit acting like a fool and act your age. So, see, she saw the potential right away. And then in high school, I was in the thespian club, and then later on, after I was in the IT world, I got my master's in computer sciences, and then they dropped me like a cold turd right after the big dot-com bubble burst.
Oh, yeah.
So I wound up reinventing myself. I was doing community theater, and I told everybody, I said, I guess I'm going to be a professional actor. And they told me, they said, you can't just become a professional actor. You're too old, too fat, and too ugly. And I said, you know what? I've seen movies where there's old, fat, ugly people, so by golly, I'm going to do it. And here I am.
Yeah, cool. You've come far.
I've come far. Over 3 dozen films in 10 years.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, this film right here, this movie was the very first feature-length film I did. And guess where it was shot? Pawtucket, Rhode Island.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
And so it's kind of funny because this was the very first film I ever did. And now, 10 years later, I'm right back in the same town. 3 dozen films more under my belt. And, I'm having a blast, living the dream, as they say. And so,
Now, what character did you play in that movie?
I played 3 zombies and a doctor.
Zombie and Doctor? Okay,
Yep.
cool.
And I always challenge people out there, if you get a copy of Feeding the Masses and you can identify all 3 instances where I appear as a zombie, I'll send you a $20 bill so you get your money back. But maybe make more if you bought it off eBay or something. But what happens is you have to watch it and send me those points on your DVR, the counts, so that I can go in and make sure. But if you can find all 3 instances where I'm a zombie, I will give you your money back. So. And you know what? And I hope Richard Griffin sees this, because Richard, my friend, he's the guy who did that. I was in 2 of his films. He recognized me very early on as an actor. And Richard, I'm still out there pushing your films, buddy, because I love you.
There we go.
Richard Griffin.
Richard Griffin?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So does he have a website, richardgriffin.com?
Oh, I'm sure he does, but the thing of it is I don't flirt with him anymore,
okay.
Unfortunately. No, what happens is I'm just not sure what his website is. I'm sure he's got a Facebook page,
Okay.
And you know what? Speaking of which, you mind if I do a couple of URLs for folks? If you'd like to know more about me, you can go to actorsal.com. You can also find me on Facebook. I'm a real social media whore. I get myself out there. So I have a Twitter, Sal Lizard, and I have a Facebook page at Sal Lizard, and I also have the Genuine Santa, which is my legitimate real bearded Santa work. I also have the Vampire Santa. There's a like page for the comedy Zombie, and there's a like page for my book, Being Santa Claus. So see, I'm a real whore. I get out. Oh, and my radio show. I do a weekly radio show.
Oh, okay.
The Wacky World of Sal Lizard. So I mean, I'm all over the place. Ladies, I'll be all up in your business if you let me. That's just the way I am.
Okay, can you just give us a quick shout out to Tyro TV?
Yes, I can. But will I?
Well,
No. So anyway, you know what? I'm the Vampire Santa, Sal Lizard, and I'm here telling you about Tyro TV. Watch it, enjoy it, live it.
Okay, thank you.
How's that?
That was awesome.
All righty.
Hi, Tyro Man. I'm at Rhode Island Con talking with Sarah Douglas. How you doing today?
I'm doing very, very well for a Sunday morning. It's all very busy here. Lots of people out, so it's great.
Now, you were in Superman 1 and 2. You were in Stargate. You were in a lot of sci-fi movies. You were in Conan. How many total?
Oh, I have no idea. They recently did a poll, and it seems that I played more evil, wicked, villainous roles in sci-fi and fantasy than any other actress. So there was a list of it, but I was impressed by myself. But I've been churning them out for a long time now, so it's some 40 years now I've been acting. So, in that time.
It's a long time acting.
Yeah.
Do you have a
I'm an old girl.
Do you have a role that sticks out that you really loved, or?
Well, I mean, it would be ridiculous. It would be ridiculous not to say Ursa in Superman, because that's what people know you for. I guess it's her. I mean, I've always enjoyed all the stuff I've done. I didn't realize I was going to go down the path of evil, wicked queens, but that's what I seem to be doing. Although now I'm playing evil, wicked judges and psychiatrists and therapists, but always with a bit of a twist at the end. So I'm always bad, whatever I do.
Cool. So would you say you've been typecast then?
I would say I've been very neatly typecast, and it's taken me quite a few years to accept it and acknowledge it. But hey, you know what? It's work, isn't it? They want a bad girl, they want a super bitch, they call on me. Right?
What was the most recent role you've done?
I finished a film about 4 weeks ago in Hollywood called Displacement, which is about quantum time travel. And you have to work out whether I'm bad in it or not. But suffice to say, and it was fun to do, but I mean, I always get the films with a lot of dialogue and a lot of explanation, like in Conan and Stargate, because from what I understand, Americans think that because I'm English and because I sound English, I know what I'm talking about. But the fact of it is, most of the time, I haven't got a clue what's going on. So nothing changes there. Okay.
Have you had to do any stunts on your own, doing any of these filming?
I've always done as many stunts as I possibly can, so I certainly did many stunts in Superman. And, you know, up until a couple of years ago, I did a film called Witchville for the Sci-Fi Channel in China. And, you know, whenever they can strap me to a horse and push me off into the sunset, I will do it. So I'm game for it, but as I get a little bit older, I have to be just a bit more careful.
What was the most dangerous stunt that they made you try to do?
Well, it's not the most dangerous stunt. It's just the fact that on Superman we got lots of injuries, and I got at the White House, when I come through the ceiling of the White House, they have all the soldiers lining up and shooting at me, and I actually got some flak in the side of my face, which shouldn't have happened. The gun got left somewhere and it got some dirt in it. So, you know, stuff happens all the while. But as far as, you know, I will never have a gun pointed at me. But back then I didn't know any better, because they said it's a blank, it's not going to hurt you. And then it does. So you don't do it again.
They lied.
Yeah, they lied.
Okay. So do you have like a website, like if people want to follow you on Twitter?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, this Twitter thing is kind of exciting. I wasn't doing Twitter, all right? I am the generation I said I do not need to do Twitter. But then I heard, now whether this is true, but I had it on good authority that Steven Spielberg has actresses' Twitter accounts, have them checked to see what their following is. So I need to get more than 10 followers, I think, don't you? So yes, so the Sara Douglas is my Twitter account, and I have a website. There's a Facebook page, everything that one can have. The Sara Douglas's Facebook. Oh no, is that or is that that's my website? I am being dragged into this next century. I am embracing social media. I have no idea, but it seems like, having spent years not being familiar with people and trying not to be overly familiar, suddenly I am so familiar with people on Twitter that I don't know, that I keep thinking I'm related to them. You know, because you chat and chat, and then suddenly you're talking about the most personal things, and suddenly I don't know who you are or where you are. But I'm enjoying Twitter. I enjoy and for something like this, to be able to post a couple of pictures of, I mean, I collect pictures of me with Superman, because there are a lot of people dressed as Superman. And some of them are excellent. Some of them are sadly not as excellent as we would like. But they obviously think they look great. So we post these pictures on the Facebook page, and we let the general public make up their minds. But no, I'm game. I'm bring them on. Bring on those tweeters and those Facebook people and those whatever the hell else. But no, I'm enjoying myself. Thank you very much.
Oh, very nice. So do you do a lot of conventions?
Excuse me. Do you feel silly dressed like that?
Not at all. I'm Tyro, man.
Okay, I was just checking, because your mask is a little squiffy, and your chest is a little, Yeah, you need to. Okay, Dave. Oh, okay. Oh, that's better. That's better.
Suck it in.
I don't do. No, I do about 2 a year in America. I just go to places I haven't been because it's. Oh, there's a Superman. You see what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
See, what does he look like? He looks splendid, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Okay. I go to places I haven't been to. So I hadn't been here, which was great. I will. You know, I went to Sweden about 5 weeks ago. I try in America. I do a couple, and I do a couple in Europe. But there is a limit. And the last thing I want to do is to be sitting at a convention with nobody coming by to say hi. So, you know, I've got to pace myself, haven't I? Anyway, so, but thank you for coming and talking to me.
Oh,
and
thank you.
for dressing up. And you're a very short Tyro
Yes.
man, but that's all right.
I hope to grow someday.
You know what? Kneel before Ursa. That's what they say.
Oh, okay. All
On
right.
that note.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Hi, Tyro Man at Rhode Island Comic Con, and I'm talking with Joe Haley and TJ Dort. Where they produced their own book called The Underbirds. Is that right? Do you want to tell us a little bit about the book?
Well, it's kind of a Halloween story, sort of fun stuff. Comedy mostly. It's about this little vampire girl here who's named the Countess Winifred Pale. She comes from the monster world to take over our human world on Halloween night via a magic scroll that turns people into monsters. That's it, though. She really has no plan outside of this little MacGuffin. She just assumes everything will fall into place, and of course it doesn't.
Oh, right.
Yep.
So how many issues to date have you guys have out? Looks like about 4?
To date, we have 14 issues. We have two trade paperback collections of our issues. Our first one is 1 through 3, which kind of gets you through Halloween night. That's first part of the story, and then we have a second trade, which is 4 through 7, and then, like I said, got the rest up to 14 right now. Looking to have some more, another trade by next year, hopefully. But.
Yeah, and who does what in the book?
We just do a little bit of everything. We're both kind of artists and writers. I do a lot of the drawing. The interior is a lot of black and white, ink wash. TJ does all of that. We both write together. Yeah.
And how would people get a hold of the book? You guys online? Is it how do reach you?
Right now, you can get our first 2 trades in our first issue through indieplanet.com. Otherwise, you can just email at us at _underburbs@yahoo.com. We'll just mail you the copies personally. I always do a little bonus sketch because nobody likes to get stuck with shipping charges. So.
Cool. All right. So any other projects besides this one you guys are working on?
We barely have time for this one. But
okay, cool.
All right.
All right, well, thanks.
Okay.
Well, a song about never saying never and never being told what you can or cannot do. This is one of us. Before I got to fighting, or when fighting got to me, I looked to find examples on the field of chivalry, and I saw mighty arms, much stronger than my arms could ever be. So I thought perhaps that field was not for me. But still I stayed and watched the fighting, till one figure stood apart, in armor newly fashioned, and a helm more pot than art. But each blow is thrown with honor and the lightness of the heart. So I took that step which soon became a start. 'Cause she was not the biggest fighter, nor one to raise a fuss, but I remember being proud that she was one of us. And we might never stand together in a shield wall side by side. Because of her I lift my sword with